Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number, 217. So I cannot rule out that I might not get a little, I might cry today. I don't think I will, but I'm not ruling it out because today I want to talk a little bit about quitting. You know, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship and starting businesses and building brands and all that good stuff. Well, one part of the entrepreneurial journey, for me at least, was having to face the reality that things aren't working or that I needed to move on from certain businesses. The biggest one, as you guys have probably heard, was my fitness center. It's funny, but it got recommended to me the other day. The video I did called, it's called like My Darkest Days, the real story of Alpha M. And I watched that, and it's funny. I watched that. See, it's starting. I watched that at the gym the other day while I was doing like the Stairmaster, and I started crying again. I watched myself on that video like crying towards the end of the video, and just reliving that whole situation that happened with closing the business, not having a plan B, not knowing where to go, and being completely lost and super freaking scared. And then losing my best friend all at the same time. You know, that video, I think, is probably one of my most important videos that I've ever done. I get a lot of emails from people saying, hey, that video, you know, is help me or whatever. And so that's the video I get the most emails about. And I watched it the other day, and it got me thinking about quitting. And then the other day, actually, like 2 or 3 days ago, I filmed a quick little video talking about, hey, this is the last chance. If you guys want to come to the MENfluential Conference, this is it, because Antonio and I, we're hanging up the towel. We're quitting doing this conference. And then I started thinking about like the Fashion Anchor and quitting that. And then I started thinking about, you know, my Alpha M accessories and M brand, like, because I've done so many things that I have stopped doing, that I've quit for one reason or way or another. And I just started really thinking about it, because I think one of the hardest decisions that you're ever going to face, and hopefully you don't have to face it, right? Hopefully your business, you have an idea and boom, right away off to the races, and it's like just a home run and everything's great. But for the mortal entrepreneurs like you and me, the chances are, even if it's a different like iteration of your business, chances are you're going to need to stop doing something in order to do something else. There's an analogy that Neistat uses often where he talks about like swinging through a jungle, right? And in order to take that next step, you've got to let go of the comfortable, you know, vine that you're on and grab that next one so you can swing on to the next adventure. And I love that analogy. But for me, at least for my fitness center, it wasn't like I was like, hey, I'm comfortable here and I'm just gonna, it's just like my vine broke and I was like, ah, and I was just scrambling to grab something so I didn't completely fall and hit the ground. Now, the truth is I kind of fell and hit the ground. I had to file bankruptcy. I was not doing what I wanted to do since the age of 12, and so it was a horrific experience. But there have been other times in my entrepreneurial journey where the choice was made. It was more of a choice as opposed to, I don't have any other options. And so today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about maybe some of the red flags or things that you need to consider, think about when going through and starting your business, you know, and you're going through tough times. Because that's the other thing, right? It's kind of confusing because you hear all these entrepreneurial people like Gary Vee and all these inspirational people. Like I've even got a sign hanging in my office that says like, nobody cares, work harder and all that. You know, part of you thinks as the entrepreneur, like if I just work a little harder, if I just keep going, I'm so close. And so the thought of failing prematurely is something that's also very scary. And like I said, with my fitness center, there really wasn't another option. If I had other options, if I had the ability to go to friends or family and say, hey, will you loan me money? I would have done anything. Like I would have literally sold my kidney if I thought I could raise enough money to actually make a difference in my business. But at that point, like that was it. My only option was to move on. And so, that scenario though is probably few and far between. Most people are not in that like dire of a situation. They've got options, they've got choices in terms of doing other things, or is this the time to sort of shut the door? And so today I just want to do a quick little video talking a little bit about some of the reasons why I've stopped doing some of my other businesses, or I've failed, or not failed. I fail all the time, but I quit some of these other ones, and maybe that'll help you sort of identify. I don't know. Maybe you'll learn something. I have no idea, but this is an idea that's been kind of rolling around my head, and I really think it's been exacerbated by the reality that is the MENfluential Conference is coming to an end, and like, even though I know, okay, Antonio and I are like, oh, we could keep going. And I know that both of us are kind of like, we're kind of sad about it because, we've done it now for like 7 years. And the first year we did that business, the first year we started the conference, it was just like, hey, let's throw a conference out in Anaheim. We're going to be out there. It was the first time I ever met Antonio in person. I knew about him online. And to be honest, I didn't really like him when I first started watching his videos. Come to realize that Antonio is one of my all-time best friends, and somebody who I love with all of my heart in terms of bromances. I mean, Antonio is just an amazing man and just a great dude, and I love spending time with him. And if this would never have happened though, if he hadn't reached out to me, because I was too busy being pissed off because he was making YouTube videos, right? So anyway, this isn't about Antonio, but it is about the fact that we started this thing, we had it in the back of a brewery, and it was like, whoa, this is awesome, we had a great time, and then, hey, let's do it again. Then we started doing it in Atlanta, and I forget how many people came the first year, but maybe it was like, or the second year, but maybe it was like 100. Then the next year, 150, 200, 300, and eventually, last year, we ended up like overselling. Like, we had like 450 people. And so, in our heads, like, ideally, it would have been something where we could have just like passed off to somebody to like handle the work. But the truth is that Antonio and I personally are having to do all of the work in terms of booking the hotels, coordinating with speakers, getting sponsors. Like, we were the ones that was having to do everything. And so it was hard, right? It took a lot of work. I mean, putting on a conference, regardless of the magnitude, is a ton of work. And so you combine that or throw that on top of, both of us have YouTube channels, he's got other businesses, I've got other businesses, we've got families, we've got obligations. Where do you find the time? It's got to come from somewhere. And so for the past few years, we've been begrudgingly making it work. Like, we weren't like really into it, but then every time we get there, it happens, and it's just like amazing. Like, we are just like, it's such an energy like jolt, and it infuses me for like the next like 6 months with just inspiration. If you guys haven't gotten your tickets and want to, guys, there are a few left. There's probably like 50 left. There's also a discount. I got to pitch it anyway. But each year afterwards, it seems like it's like, oh God, I just don't want to do it again. I just don't want to do it again. And the idea that we're going to have to do this work sort of starts weighing on us. And this was the year where it was like, I don't want to do this. And I could hear it in his voice. He didn't want to do it either. We were tired. And so even though something was working and we could have continued to keep it here and do like this conference at the same place every year and just have the same people, and so we just decided, you know what, we're on top and it's okay. It's okay to stop. And I guess the first takeaway is you've got to be honest with yourself. We do not have unlimited time. It's not like some infinite amount of hours that we get in our day, our week, our month, our year. And so for you to do anything, you've got to take it from somewhere. The more crap you pile on your plate, the heavier it gets and the more overwhelming it becomes. And so I guess the first sign that it's time to quit is that you're just not enjoying it the way that you used to. And you're not getting the value or the benefit that you once did. And it's hard to make that decision, and it's hard to be honest with yourself, and it's hard when you have people involved and you feel like you're going to let like hundreds of people down by not doing it. But there's only one you, and you've got to be honest with your time and where you place your resources in terms of your energy, your emotional and mental bandwidth. And so if the juice just ain't worth the squeeze anymore for you, gentlemen, it's okay to quit. And you got to do it for you, though. You can't do it for other people, because if you do, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be fulfilled. So that's the first takeaway in terms of when to know it's time to quit. So if you haven't grabbed your tickets, there's the link. Now's the time. Last one. And people think like we're lying. It's like, we're not lying. And I know that a lot of you are like, well, why don't you just hire somebody to do it? And we've tried that, and it just doesn't work. For us to get tickets, we've got to promote it, or for sell tickets, we've got to promote it. In order for us to do everything, it's kind of us. And it's been a passion project. The other part of the equation is we're not making any money, like no profit. All the profit that we get, we put back into it, in terms of like paying for more hotel rooms for our speakers and giving people like some airline credits, and then flying like my coach in for the conference. So there's no money. Like, this isn't like a for-profit thing. And when we started, we thought, hey, we could make a business out of it. But we didn't. Something else that I quit was the fashion anchor. You guys who have been around for a while, I actually did a video where it shows me on the thumbnail hanging it or handing it over. That business was a real business. It was something that at one point I was very excited to do and very excited about. And at the time that I gave it back to the other person that I was doing it with, because literally I gave it to him for, at the time we agreed on like $20,000, but then he ran into trouble, and I'm just like, you know what, never mind, don't worry about it. It was making like $100,000 a year, which $100,000 a year, you think to yourself, damn, that's a ton of money, right? You've got to be honest, once again, with your time and what value is generated from the business or the thing that you're going after. You've got to be honest. If you're not getting the value, if you don't see that long term, this is really going to be something that's going to be big and really make an impact or a difference, it's okay to stop. It's okay to stop if you're not feeling it. Now, that being said, don't confuse not feeling it with it being hard. Because business is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. It takes sleepless nights. It takes, just working your nuts off in order to accomplish small little victories. But I think that one of the takeaways, another takeaway that I'd like to share with you is, even though it's hard, even though you're busting your ass, and even though you're not seeing the progress that you want to, as long as you're making small incremental steps forward, do not hang it up. Keep going, keep working, keep striving for that ultimate goal, because you're going to face times. You're going to face times in your head. Like, there have been many times that I thought to myself, I should just be an accountant. I should get a desk job and I should just go work for somebody else, because honestly, this entrepreneurship thing really sucks. It really sucks worrying about how I'm going to put food on the table. It really sucks worrying about how I'm going to put gas in my car. It really sucks having to be responsible for other people. But you do it, and you do it because you love it, and you do it because you believe in yourself and you believe in where it's ultimately going. And if you have that burning desire, if you're not at that's it, you're burning all your bridges, you've got to go to friends and family to get $5, if you're not at that point where it is do or die, you're going to be living in a tent, you got to keep going. You got to keep trying, because the one thing that I tell myself every day is, it's okay to fail. It's okay to quit if something is not working or you're not passionate about it. And that's the other thing. This whole term of passion, right? This concept of passion is going to get a lot of people in trouble. And the reason I say that is because passion, and when you think about passion, it's like, if I'm passionate about it. And people have the misconception that if you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work. And the truth is that you can be passionate about it, but if you are working, it's work. Like YouTube, right? I love YouTube. I wouldn't do anything else. I am super passionate about making content for you guys. But it doesn't mean it doesn't feel like work. It feels like work every single day. I get up, pick myself up, and be like, all right, today's the day. I got to go do this. Let's do this. And I still love the editing. I still love doing that whole thing. And so I keep doing it, obviously, and it's amazing. But this whole idea of if you're not passionate about it. Now I get it, right? If you're in a job, a dead-end job, and you hate it, right? life is too short, my friend, to be miserable for 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 hours a day. It is too short. So if it means that you've got to figure something out or work this job, because that's the other thing, do not just quit and be like, I'm going to be a YouTuber, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to whatever. Do not make that mistake, because nothing puts the pressure on your business or you being happy and successful like you needing money and not knowing how to get it, or having to go and beg from other people to actually give you money, because there's nothing that is worth that. And I would recommend that if you do have an idea, you've got a business, you want to go after it with a not reckless, intelligent and methodical abandonment, or whatever reckless abandon, you get what I'm saying. You got to be smart about it, though. Keep your job, do that, but I'll tell you what, when you've got that other idea, you've got that other business, you've got something you're looking and working towards, it makes going to the shitty job a little easier, a little less sucky, because you know that there's something else. But if you don't have any idea, or you've got other things that you're working on, it's horrible, I would imagine. But I'm all over the place. Other signs it's time to quit or change direction, because that's the other thing. Sometimes it's not like quitting, it's just shifting. It's adjusting. A lot of times you'll start down a path, right? And you think, okay, that success thing, the thing that I'm working for, straight line right there. But then you start driving, right? You start going down that road to success, and then bang, speed bump. Ooh, I need a detour. And whoa, there's an accident up here. I better go around there, right? Horrible analogy, I know, but hopefully you get the idea that, sorry. Horrible analogy, but hopefully you understand. Sometimes along your journey to success, you change directions, and the direction you're going, you're like, yo, I thought I wanted to go to California, but I hear it's pretty nice in Florida, and Florida's going to be a little bit shorter of a drive, and I don't have to deal with like earthquakes and stuff, right? And so you end up going to Florida. You quit going to California, but Florida, you end up being like, yo, this is amazing. I love it here. And maybe someday I'll go out to California, but by that time, I'm going to fly, because I don't feel like driving anymore. So terrible analogy. Actually, maybe it's a genius analogy. But so sometimes you quit because of a better opportunity, and that is okay as well. I've probably done that a few times. Like I said, I don't beat myself up anymore about trying something. If it's not working, I don't know what time frame I give myself, but you feel it, right? You kind of know. So anyway, I know this was rambling probably, and I know you probably got zero from this. Hopefully you got a little something from this. I've just been very introspective lately. I watched that video, My Darkest Days, and right away, boom, right back into that time. And you know what really sucks? And I'll just be honest with you. And I talk in that video about Linda, right? Linda was my business partner. She was somebody who believed in me way back when, and decided to, open up a fitness center with me. I helped her lose 100 pounds. And Linda was everything, to me. She was almost like a mother figure to me. And I think I think she saw me a little bit as like a son a bit, and she was trying to help me. She didn't have any kids, and so I think she was like displacing some of her parental vibes or whatever to me. And so anyway, we were together every single day. We became just like inseparable, and we dreamed together. We had dreams together. We would go on walks and talk about what we were going to do and what we wanted to accomplish and how we were going to do it. And we were amazingly close. And, when that business closed or failed, her and I, we haven't spoken. I mean, it literally has been like 12, 13 years since I've talked to her. And, the last time I had a conversation with her, I think I was talking to her about I was driving a beer cart or whatever, which I've told you guys before, just to make ends meet. And I know that she ended up getting divorced and moving out to Illinois, which is, I'm assuming, kind of close to Chicago. Well, you get what I'm saying. I think I've even sent her an email saying, hey, I'm out in Chicago often. I'd love to get together. Could you make it work? And she just will not respond to me. She will not acknowledge me. And it really makes my wife upset. she's like, how dare her treat you like this? She was so upset she didn't come to my wedding, like weird stuff like that. And, but I think about her, and I just think about, back then even, like her and I just wanted to be successful. Like that was it. We wanted to be successful. And just to see all the things that have happened personally and professionally for me since that time, I just want to share it with her because like I feel like my victory is kind of like her victory. Like she believed in me. You know, she went out on a limb. She trusted me, and we tried to do something incredible together. It didn't end up working, and it sucks. She was older, and so maybe it was too devastating for her. But you know, the hardest part about that whole time is that I lost my best friend, and I just wish I could just have a conversation with her, you know, but she won't. I've called her, I've emailed her, and she will not get back to me. And I don't think I know that it's not because she doesn't like me personally. I think it's just too hard, and I think that when she talks to me, it just brings up all of these horrible feelings about the stuff that happened. But I fantasize about running into her once in a while, or I think about it. I think about maybe at the airport or just like randomly, like once in a while I'll see somebody that looks like her and I'll be like, you know, is that her? And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Sorry. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to be like this. Exactly. What? All right, guys. I apologize for getting upset. Apparently, it is still super raw, and it just hasn't gone away. But someday, I hope to run into Linda and just say thank you. And just grab a cup of coffee. I mean, nothing more, nothing less. But anyway, guys, I think that's where I'm going to wrap things up. This was an emotional one for me. I apologize for not getting to your business questions, but hopefully you got something from this other than knowing that I look terrible when I cry. Anyway, if you missed the video and want to hear sort of like the full story, I guess I kind of told it to you, but down below, guys, I'll link to the video, My Darkest Days. I am proudest of that video, honestly, because I feel like it's important, and I think the message is solid. And that's it. I'm going to wrap things up there. Also, if you haven't gotten your MENfluential tickets, this is it. Last time, you think I'm crying now? My God, I can't even imagine the tears at this conference. February 28th, 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. Guys, we'll also put that discount link for tickets down below. It's an opportunity. Come and meet Tiege, come and meet me, come and meet Antonio, and hundreds of other amazing dudes. Gentlemen, speaking of amazing, we think you are amazing, and we love you more than our double monk strap shoes. Guys, thanks for watching, and sorry for getting upset. It just happens.